things I would like to talk to you about, first of all, is breathing. Now, I know we've already covered this a little bit with an exercise today, and we've talked about it. But in my experience, it's one of the things that singers underestimate the most. And I don't just mean the physical, I also mean the psychological and the emotional aspects of breathing. Now, if you've got, a hard bit coming up in a song or a long phrase or something like that, so often I'll hear, singers talk about, right, okay, I need to take a deep breath or a big breath. Now, as soon as I say that, take a deep breath or take a big breath, immediately I want to actually lift my shoulders. I get that immediate feeling of tension, of that rise up. Of course, what happens when we do that and we get this clavicular breathing going on, as soon as I lift my shoulders, not only have we got all of this tension here, not only am I only shallow breathing, but as soon as you do that, you've actually got nerves in your shoulders that when they lift, it prevents your diaphragm from contracting any further. Your brain tells your body that your lungs are full and it's time for you to breathe out. So, all of that combined, what do we get? We don't get a very good breath for breathing. So one of the things I'd like to talk to you about is the idea of thinking about your breathing and your singing as a continuous motion, like a pendulum. So we breathe in, we breathe out. So it's like an opposing force. For every in-breath, there's an out-breath, or singing a note. So, and you can just do that on either a long-held hum or a mi or a ma or a z if you want something like that. And just taking the time to bring into your breathing practice some real mindfulness with this, because something else that singers do a lot, they hold their breath before they sing the note. Of course, as soon as you do that, you get that glottal onset, which is really not great for your vocal folds at all. The other thing I see singers doing is they've got a phrase coming up, they've got a bar of silence, and they sort of forget to breathe, and like for a millisecond before they sing, they snatch a breath, they get that panicked breath in. So something I'd really like you to do is to just absolutely not underestimate the importance of breathing. So with this pendulum idea, as I say, I'll just do it on a zzz. I'm just going to breathe in and then out, zzz, in, out, zzz. So we're just getting used to the idea of in-breath, out-breath, in-breath, out-breath. Now, when that feels comfortable, the next thing you can consider is bringing to your awareness the idea of thinking of your breath as almost like a fuel gauge. Because the other thing I see singers do all the time is as soon as they take their breath in, or they allow their breath in, and then from the word go, it's like they're literally shoving their stomachs back or pulling in hard. Remember, physics is on your side. Once we have our lungs full of air, then naturally all you have to do is release and air will come out. That will happen naturally. So you don't need to be pushing and shoving and pulling with your abdominal muscles as soon as you start creating sound. So, we've got our pendulum idea. The other thing then is thinking about this gauge, like a petrol gauge or a fuel gauge. So as soon as I've taken my breath in or allowed my breath and I start to sing my note, zzz, when I get to about here, halfway, that's when I'm going to think about, okay, I need to now start supporting and actually using my abdominal muscles a bit more. Because now, as my lungs start to shrink, as air starts leaving my lungs, physics isn't on our side so much anymore. The air pressure isn't the same. So that's when we need to start pulling in a little bit. So from this point, that's when I start pulling in. But there is no pushing, no shoving. All the time we're thinking about this ease, this idea of ease and releasing tension. So same thing, you can just get your z or a hum or a mi or a ma, doesn't matter, comfortable note. And you're just gonna imagine this petrol gauge. And here I go, I'm just gonna take a breath in and off I go. Zzz. Now I'm here. Now I'm gonna start pulling in. Zzz, all the way to the end. Now that brings me on to 2 questions that I had received today. And also, if that doesn't make sense, or if you'd like more clarification on that, just fire me a comment. So the first question I had was emailed by a lovely lady called Claire, and her question is how much should I breathe before a note? I think what she means is, how do I know how much air to breathe in? The answer to that, Claire, is as much as you need. No, I remember when my singing teacher used to say that to me, and it used to drive me nuts, because I'd be like, well, what do you mean, as much as I need? The best advice I can give you is to actually go through the process of actually learning your song from the standpoint of breathing. So I always start off with a printout of lyrics. And again, it amazes me how many singers don't do this. But I always have a printout of my lyrics, and this becomes like some kind of scrawled, gnarled bit of paper, because I put all of my notes on for a song. And I have a folder, you know, of all of these lyric notes in there, because then it's just there for you to reference. You know, you walk away from a song for a few months or a year or whatever, and you come back to it and it's still there. So I would start with, you've got your lyrics, start by speaking them through, just like you would, you know, I'm reading from the paper or something. And all you're going to do is just mark where it feels natural as you're speaking to allow a breath, okay? So from that point onwards, then what you can do is you then sing it lightly. Does that change? You know, as soon as we start singing it rather than speaking it, does it change? 9 times out of 10, it doesn't. Sometimes it does. Then you start adding a little bit more of what you want. You start building that cake. And of course, there might be a bit in it where you want to really belt a section out or something like that. And again, perhaps you need to adjust that idea of where to breathe. But I would say that's where it begins, because if you it's like walking and then running. Start with speaking and then progress on and make notes accordingly. That also helps if you're starting from that point of ease. You also, you know, it stops you building into the practice of that song panic or big note coming or anything like that. You know, as soon as I do that, up go my shoulders. Now, the other question I had was from the, hi guys, hi Ramona, hi Marwa, hi John. Yes, John, I'm going to move on to your question now. So John asked me, I have to actually look at this one because he's only just posted it. With songs where there are big, scary notes, what is your advice? That is a brilliant question, John, and it's a tough one as well. Okay, what is my advice? This isn't, you know, it's most definitely not a simple question. So what's my advice? My advice is prepare hard, fight easy, okay? So the same thing, go back to the idea of take your song, don't hit a song from the word go, right, off I go. Again, as singers, we kind of, because we're born with the ability to sing, we don't often allow ourselves that time to, you know, get this song into our body. If I'm playing a song on the guitar or the piano, I'll look at it, I'll look at the piece, and I'll probably start off thinking about my right hand and then my left hand. I'll be looking at, you know, any hard rhythmic bits. What does the pitch do here? Do I need to move my finger position? And as singers, we just don't often do that. You know, we hit play on a backing track and off we go, and we just expect ourselves to just knock it out of the park. So same thing, what I would say is get your lyric sheet, start with that breathing, because of course breathing with big scary notes is really important, not only because we need enough air to actually achieve those notes, but also because of the point of view of tension. And as soon as you say that big scary notes, what's going to happen? That tension is going to creep in. So then what you're going to do, once you've got the breathing feeling easy, think about just finding the pitch of the notes. And you don't necessarily need words for this. You can literally be going through the whole song on a mi or a ma, a comfortable vowel or a comfortable sound. You could even do it on a lip bubble. And just finding the pitch of the song and finding it where it sits in your body with ease. Now, part of that is not fighting your head voice. If your head voice wants to come in, allow it to come in. When when you're singing lightly, your head voice will probably want to if there's higher sections. And again, you start building that cake. You start to add a little bit more of what you want to achieve. But just because you're singing a big note or a loud, scary note, it should never feel pushed or shoved. It's always allowing. It's always setting our body up, setting our voices up, so that we allow those notes. And if it starts to feel a bit tense or a bit tough, okay, come back to the drawing board. Right, what do I need to do here? Do I need to alter the way I'm singing that vowel? Am I really, was it easy when I was just singing on a vowel? Is it now I've brought the words into it? Has it changed? What's hard about that now? But it's all the time having that awareness of how does it feel in our bodies. That is the most important thing. Second one, we don't have a mirror. So how does it sound? Record yourself loads all the time. You can record every practice you do. And don't just do that for the purpose of, oh, it's terrible, it's awful. We're listening out for where it's good as well. So you want to start building in this recognition. Oh, that sounded great and it felt good. That didn't sound good. Yeah, it felt tight. So you start to build in this awareness, how it sounds, how it feels in the body. Okay, John, you had one more question. Do I believe that certain songs suit certain voices, and how would you adapt for a different genre? Another great question. I think, you know, that's where you start getting onto the question becomes artistry. Because if I am a rock singer, can I sing a light folk ballad, or can I sing a musical theatre song? Absolutely. I might sing them in my own style and in my own way, which then means that maybe then and that's what makes music exciting, right? Because all of a sudden you get a rock singer singing a classical song, or a classical singer singing a rock song. So absolutely, I think that a well-trained singer and a great singer can sing anything in their own style. What tends to go wrong is when we start trying to force and push and shove ourselves into a pigeonhole of sounding like a person, or like how we think a genre should sound. I think that was all of your question. Oh, how would you adapt for a different genre? Again, I think it's probably more important to find your own real sense of your own voice, and then think about adapting the genre for your voice. So, I mean, this is the difference when we're talking about artists and professional singers. Now, when I say professional singer, I'm not talking, I mean, obviously anyone who gets paid for singing, you are a professional singer. What I mean by that is a session singer. So a session singer, part of the job is to be able to adapt to multiple styles, and to sing convincingly. If I get a job as a country singer, I need to sound like a country singer. If I get a job as a rock singer, I need to sound like a rock singer. You get the idea. I think that what's more important is that you yourself have an intrinsic knowledge of your own voice and your own sound, and that you adapt songs to fit that, rather than trying to adapt yourself to fit a song. It's kind of like buying a suit, right? Well, if it's amazing, if it's an amazing dress, I mean, women have been doing this for years. They feel that they need to lose weight to fit the dress. What is better, of course, is if you buy the dress and you get a tailor, just like your wedding dress, to take it in to fit you, to fit your body. I hope that helps. Hi, Karen. Hi, Rita. Does anyone else have any other questions, or do I need to clarify anything I've talked about in this session? Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed day one. If you do have any other questions, or anything else you'd like to ask, just fire it in the group, or you can email it to me, and I will be going live every single evening during the 7-day challenge. It will be 7 p.m. GMT time, so London time. So that will be tomorrow, Monday, at 7 o'clock, which is in 15 minutes from now. So guys, take care. Enjoy tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing you then. See you soon.